Hi, and now we're at the last chapter that we're going to cover in this course, and it's on the relationship between family and work worlds. Now, the majority of families with children now have either a lone parent or both parents in the workforce. Most married or cohabitating partners hold jobs. Paid employment takes up a large portion of the day and demands of a great deal of energy. It has far-reaching consequences for family life, including care of children while parents work and the responsibility for household duties. As the baby boom generation ages, there will be a greater need for elder care. Because of competing demands, some family members can suffer burnout. Stress can, however, be reduced by flexible work policies. In this chapter, we're going to examine the many important issues related to family and the work world. Now, we can start with one family, two incomes, and this is considered the new reality. More and more families affected by the interplay between work and family responsibilities. A significant societal trend is the increased number of women employed outside of the home. Now, in Table 12.1 in your text, it looks at employment trends of men and women. Women in the workforce is a growing trend in our society. Just by comparison, in 1931, 16% of women had paid employment. By 2015, 70% of men. By 2015, just under 60% of women were employed. So why is that? Well, women are more educated. Life chance, one of the most valuable. The labor market has changed, where there are more places for women in the work world. And the cultural values have changed. Now, the proportion of dual income families has gone from less than 40% in the 70s to a little over 60% in the 90s. It's leveled off since then, about 69 to 70% in 2014. Now, with Table 12.2, notice that the employment rate of the 25 to 44-year-old men dropped about 5% from 1980 to 2015, while women's increased about 20% for the same age group in the same time frame. Now, having two incomes is a financial improvement. However, it can seriously affect parenting and household responsibilities. The division of labor within a home, who does what? Well, let's have a look at that. Work and family interact both positively and negatively, and we'll explore some of these relationships between work and family. The changing gender roles. Families are changing faster than the roles and expectations have for the balance of family and work. In the traditional family, the husband was the breadwinner and the wife remained home to care for children and the household. This was known as intensive mothering, not nearly as common today as it was in the past. More common are dual earners and need to balance work responsibilities with one another. So what about role expectations in regards to this balance? Men and women find the challenge of balancing how they feel about themselves in their relationship with those of society expectations. One positive trend has been men are more involved in child rearing than in the past. Now, this represents about 1/3 of the couples, which means there are still 2/3 of dual income earners where the woman is responsible for child care and household. This is known as the double shift. You have a work shift and you come home and you work the evening shift by doing the household responsibilities. Now, some of the competing issues to this, expectations of family members are a major stress on dual income families. Traditional ideals of family togetherness and quality time with children don't coincide with dual income families all the time. Expectations of employers and fellow co-workers may be anti-family. And there also could be a shift work can cause, like if you've ever worked shift work, it can cause a major stress in families. Now, given the many demands of their time, dual earner couples often spend relatively little time with friends and extended family. When social networks are limited, families experience lower levels of social support, which, may thus feel like a lot higher stress level within the family. So household responsibilities, whose are they? Well, hard physical housework has been reduced through the introduction of utilities. When we got electricity and running water, it made many of our chores easier. However, technology has made household work different rather than less. We have dishwashers and laundry machines. They make work quick. We can get our washing done, but there's always more work. We don't feel less busy. The amount of time spent on household work is related to income levels, age and quality of the housing you live in, and the personal standards for meal preparation and cleanliness. Most housework is still done by women. The shift from wage-earning husbands to dual-earner families has not meant an equal shift in household responsibilities. Rather, it's led to conflicts over just how household work and childcare should be divided. Now, if you look at Table 12.3, since men traditionally have not had to concern themselves with family care, some view housekeeping chores as not very masculine. Husbands tend to do the highest share of housework, about 35%, when partners' earnings are equal to their own. Working couples and their social network. How important is that? Well, when social networks are limited, the family may experience more stress. The network needs to be actively give and take, to be balanced. Not doing so can reduce or cut off the support and increase isolation. Many of us probably experienced that during these COVID times. So what about care for family members? Now, this, of course, is really important in families generally, especially as we enter into what's known as the sandwich generation. Here's where, as a family, you not only care for your own children, but you also care for your parents. So you're sort of the meat in the sandwich. Caregiver strain is a term used to describe the burdens in the caregiver's day-to-day lives that can attribute to the need to provide care or assistance to someone else. The direct costs, well, there's direct and indirect. The direct cause, reduce income and missing work. The indirect costs, less social time, reduced work advancements, physical and emotional cost. Childcare. Well, childcare in Canada is closely tied to social attitudes towards women's work. Long-held societal assumptions that children are best off at home and looked after by their mothers. Daycare centers established only when it was benefiting society, either from a desire for better supervision of children or from the need for mothers to join the workforce. Now, if you look at Figure 12.2, we're going to look at childcare in Canada. You see the variations in Figure 12.1. Childcare can be either unregulated or regulated. Unregulated care is provided by someone other than the parents or the immediate family. Regulated care is usually center-based, where services is provided by either college-trained early childhood educators to meet the provincial standards that exist for childcare. In the past, modest increases in the number of regulated spaces in Canada nationwide. Nonetheless, in 2014, space available for only 25% of Canadian children ages 0 to 12 years. Changes in availability and cost of daycare affect women more than men because, well, they're still expected to provide the bulk of care. Now, several factors influence the kind of childcare parents choose. The age of the child, the parent's income or job type, family characteristics, the community in which they live. There are what are known as the 4 pillars of childcare. Childcare in Canada is described as resting on 4 pillars. The first pillar is government funding. Provincial and territories receive federal government transfers to spend as they need. This provincial difference, there is provincial differences in child care options then. Secondly is income tax relief for families. The Canadian Child Benefit is a tax-free payment based on family income. 3. Maternal and paternal leaves and benefits. 17 weeks of leaves for mothers of a newborn. The next 35 weeks can be split between the two parents. And then the fourth pillar, universal and free kindergarten, offered through the public school system. Now that's looking at children. There are options also for elder care. As the baby boom ages, will be growing need for elder care services in Canada. Age in place and home care are growing interests for seniors living in their own home. Again, check on figure 12.4 and in particular box 12.3 on elder care in Canada, an overview of elder care options. Now there are conflicts, of course, we can imagine between work and family, and these sorts of conflicts lead to family and work conflict. This is defined as stress that arises when work and family demands are mutually incompatible. With the advent of technology development, email certainly, work can interfere with family 24/7. I get emails all weekend or even on the weeknights, and so the expectation is, do we answer them, and do we have our work interfere with family? All this can and does influence us in a sense of availability of work. Family interference with work, or FIW. As you would expect, this relates to when families interfere with work. For example, going to work when you have a sick child at home or with a friend where your mind is on the child while you're at work. This is where family interferes with work. Now, work interferes with family, WIF. Here, this is where work interferes with family life. The more typical interference, work may have a higher expectation of you and your time. You work 9 to 5. However, your boss expects some evening and or weekend work. We sometimes will sacrifice family for work, as our culture does value money. There are times when the extra money does or might help one's family. Stress and uncertainty. Now, there is a term that's been described as called blurred boundaries. And if you've ever brought work home just to finish things up, this is what's known as blurred boundaries. With all work-family juggling that we do in order to balance family and work, the results can result in one or both of the following role concerns. There's role spillover. This is when work and family roles and demands for time interfere with one another. And role overload refers to when the demands of our time and our energy that are associated with performing multiple roles are too great to do any of the roles very adequately or even very comfortably. Now, there are strategies to employ to help with this. Manage work cycles and family cycles to advantage the important things for each pressure in timely manners. Don't put things off. Purchase time-saving products, permanent press clothing, dishwasher, household support like cleaning services. They're certainly easier as two-income families. Now, as you may have anticipated, another term that is more common today is what's known as burnout. Now, burnout is the state that occurs when a person experiences prolonged stress without learning how to cope with it. Now, this is something maybe not only family related that we may have experienced. It can have many direct and indirect impacts on the adults as well as their children. The term used to describe the burdens in caregivers' day-to-day lives can be attributed to the need to provide care or assistance to someone else is known as caregiver strain. Now, this is the physical, emotional, and financial stresses associated with caring for a dependent. There's relatively little consideration has been given to the interplay between family and work responsibilities and the care of aging family members. Much more attention has been paid to childcare. So what about this work-family balance? A self-defined state of well-being that recognizes the interrelatedness of work life and family life that we need to keep them apart, but they're significant in our lives. And it consists of three components. First is the time balance, equal time given to work and family roles. 2, involvement balance, equal levels of psychological involvement in work and family, not one and not the other. And then 3, satisfaction balance, equal levels of satisfaction in work and family. Now, as we go forward in the world and work and family is becoming more complicated, there needs to be more flexible work arrangements. And so flexible work arrangements is one of the ways to address the problem of competing demands for work and family. Now, this is certainly topical now amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at how things have gone remote, work from home, and all within 2 weeks in last March. We were in class in the winter, and by week 7, we had 2 weeks and we were all remote and online, and we have been so since. That's an example of the flexibility of work. So flex time is one form. A system of working a set number of hours within with the starting and finishing times chosen with agreed limits of the employer. So for example, I could choose with flex time to work Monday to Friday, or maybe I've chosen Wednesday to Sunday. Flex. Now, women with flex work schedules feel less stressed by family responsibility than those with more rigid schedules. Flex time has had some mixed reviews as to how effective it may really be. Telework is another example, a work arrangement in which the employee works outside the office, often from home. It appeals to people who commute long distances every day and who do not want children to spend 10 hours or more a day in childcare, and who want flexibility to schedule their work. Need to be constantly connected means that we're never really off the job, linked to lower family satisfaction. Now, reduced hours of work is another option, not as common, but job sharing or a work arrangement in which 2 employees share one full-time job with prorated salaries and benefits. Part-time work allows individuals to fulfill care responsibilities for children and older relatives. Women, more than men, choose to work fewer hours. We still have a society that's patriarchal enough that still men are more advantaged and less responsible for family aside from the income, even though there's dual income is becoming more and more common in our society. I think in the future we could see this become more flexible. I see in post-secondary we might have multiple ways in order to get your education. And so that will be a positive going forward, even though it's not comfortable right now. Well, everybody, thank you so much for your time and your effort to the course. I've enjoyed instructing and giving these videos for you. I hope you've gained something out of this course. I certainly have gained something out of it, and I look forward to your assignments. Okay, everybody. If you're in school for the summer, enjoy and good luck to you. If you're off and done, good luck to you. Bye.